Good day everyone, my name is Serena Miluzada Ultra, a BSB student of Rizal Memorial State University. And for today's video, I'm going to discuss a article about the Philippine Stock Exchange. Manila. The local stock barometer started the shortened trading week higher ahead of the announcement of the Federal reverse rate decision, but the peso weakened to a United States dollar. The Philippine Stock Exchange Index, or the PSI, jumped by 0.86% or 52.81 points to 0.61% or 19.72 points to 6,206.24 points. All shares trailed with an increase of 0.61% or 19.72 points to 3,277.1 points. Half of the sectorial gadgets also rose during the day, namely property, 3.54%, holding firms to 1.52%, and financial 0.43%. On the other hand, services fell by 1.75%, mining and oil by 0.40%, and the industrial by 0.12%. Volume was thin at 496.31 million shares, amounting to 6.29 billion. Advancers lead decliners at 105 to 74, while 47 shares were unchanged. Investors made bids ahead of the main highlight this week, statesides with is the Feds or the Federal Reserve. Lastly, a latest policy decision of the conclusion of its meeting on Wednesday, wherein the street expects an upward benchmark rate adjustment of 3/4 a point, said Luis Limlingan, Regina Capital Development Corporation, or the RCDC, heads of sales. Limlingan said investors are also in a wait-and-see stance of the release of U.S. non-farm payrolls for October on November 4 and the Philippines October 22 inflation rate, producers price index, and a balance of trade report this week. More local corporate earnings have also come in, which were there in line or above expectations, which further boosted sentiment, he said. He also cited the jump oil prices in the international market, with Brent crude up by 1.8% to USD 94.51 per barrel, and West Texas Intermediate by 2% to USD 88.27 per barrel. Meanwhile, the local currency depreciated to 58.47 to a US dollar from 57 to 97 lastly Friday. It opened the day at 58.08 and traded between 58.49 and 52.2. The average of the day stood at 58.224. Volume reached USD 844.15 million from USD 912.35 in the previous session. Rizal Commercial Banking Corporation, or the RCBC, chief economist Michael Ricafort attribute the peso weekend to correction after a strong performance last week. The US dollar also corrected higher recently versus major global currencies to one-week highs ahead of the widely expected fourth large jumbo rate hike of to 0.75. On November 22, 2022, US time zone, he said. Header drivers for the greenback strength include the stronger than expected US jobs, opening data, and the completion of the Bank of England. First sales of bonds GBP 750 million or the USD 860 million that were both under quantitative easing programs, as well as signals of higher taxes in the UK that recently supported gains in the UK financial markets after increased volatility earlier in October 22, and he said,